Reports have emerged that Samsung is preparing a plan to invest 1,000 trillion Korean won, approximately 105 trillion yen, or around 100 billion US dollars, inside South Korea over the next 10 years. If you look at that number alone and conclude this is a massive bet on semiconductors, you're only seeing part of the picture. My read is that this represents Samsung as a single company moving to lay the cornerstone of what I'd call an AI infrastructure nation. The deeper story here is that South Korea itself is beginning to transform into the computing backbone that powers the global AI economy. And this news, in my view, marks that turning point.
As always, I'll explain everything in the most simplified way possible. Even a middle schooler should be able to follow along. If you're a specialist watching, some parts may feel oversimplified, but I'd like to prioritize giving everyone the big picture first. Think of it as the biggest company in town declaring it will tear down and rebuild the entire shopping district. Supermarkets, electronic stores, warehouses, and logistics centers all at once, because what customers want has completely changed in the AI era. So sit back and enjoy. Let me use an analogy to set the stage. Imagine the largest general trading company in a town standing up and announcing, over the next 10 years, we are going to completely rebuild this entire shopping district. Not just one store, but the supermarket, the electronics shop, the warehouses, the distribution centers, everything. They're doing this because what customers want has fundamentally shifted, from everyday goods of the old days to the convenient AI-powered services of the future. This is, in essence, a declaration to transform the whole town from the ground up. The scale of this trading company is simply staggering. Their annual investment runs around $65 billion, a figure that rivals several of Japan's largest manufacturers combined. And this is all being done by a single company. We're not just talking about renovating a shopping district. This is more like rebuilding the entire town itself. Everyone around them is naturally stunned. Are they actually going to go that far? What makes this story even more compelling is that the renovation targets aren't limited to just the warehouses. The plan also includes the power grid and the distribution centers. This isn't simply about manufacturing products, it's about building out the infrastructure that moves and delivers those products. In the AI era, that distribution center is the analog for the computational facilities where information gets processed. That's the key insight here. The South Korean government is fully behind this effort. The government has declared a national AI and semiconductor strategy, and it intends to align that strategy with this massive private sector investment push. Think of it as the landlord of the shopping district stepping forward and saying, please go ahead with the renovation. We'll even help cover part of the cost. Public and private sectors are joining forces to drive one of the most ambitious industrial transformations the country has ever attempted. From here, I'll explain in concrete terms exactly how this simplified analogy actually plays out in the real industrial world. Let's now get into the full breakdown. This news is about Samsung Group preparing a plan to invest roughly 1,000 trillion won domestically over the next 10 years. The investment spans a wide range of areas: AI data centers, semiconductor fabs, display panels, and batteries. The plan is expected to move in coordination with the South Korean government's AI and semiconductor strategy. First, let's put the numbers in perspective. Divide 1,000 trillion won by 10 years, and you get 100 trillion won per year, approximately 65 billion US dollars annually. Samsung Electronics' capital expenditure has been running around 53 trillion won in both 2024 and 2025. That means this new annual figure is roughly double that. However, this total includes data centers, batteries, and display investments across the entire Samsung Group, not just Samsung Electronics, which is almost exclusively focused on semiconductors. Even accounting for that broader scope, the sheer scale of one corporate group moving this kind of capital is remarkable. Now let's look at the breakdown of investment targets. The fact that AI data centers are explicitly included, not just semiconductor fabs, is critically important. Historically, Samsung's capital investment has been dominated by manufacturing equipment for memory and logic chips. In other words, fab-focused spending. This time, data center construction has been added to that mix, and that shift matters enormously. Why data centers? Based on my years of experience on the factory floor, I believe Samsung's internal thinking has shifted to selling AI memory alone is no longer enough. It's not just about manufacturing and shipping HBM, the high bandwidth memory designed for AI workloads. The ambition is to build the actual computing environment in which that memory operates, right inside South Korea, and effectively bring the entire AI ecosystem under the Korean umbrella. The same pattern is showing up at SK Group as well. SK Group announced in 2025 a plan to partner with AWS, Amazon Web Services, to build AI data centers inside South Korea. Samsung and SK, South Korea's two semiconductor giants, are both moving toward data center investment within a remarkably close time frame. This is not a coincidence. The alignment with the South Korean government's strategy is another factor that cannot be overlooked. Until now, South Korea's identity in the global semiconductor ecosystem has been that of the country that supplies AI memory. SK Hynix and Samsung hold the majority of the global HBM market share. Yet, when you look at the distribution of hyperscale data center capacity worldwide, the United States holds 54%, a position in a class of its own, while South Korea has yet to emerge as a major data center destination, Synergy Research, end of 2024. The national level goal, however, is now to make that transition, to become a country that doesn't just supply AI memory, but actually hosts AI computing infrastructure. This is the national strategy behind the investment story.
It's also worth noting that displays and batteries are part of the investment. The Samsung Group's business spans smartphones and home appliances, with Samsung Display handling panels and Samsung SDI handling batteries. Even in the AI era, maintaining competitiveness on the device side requires continued investment across these product lines.
That said, this investment plan is still at the preparation stage. The reports come from Korean media. No official announcement has been made by Samsung Group itself. The plan still needs to go through government negotiations and receive final approval before it becomes concrete. The specific figures and priorities could shift going forward, and that context is worth keeping in mind. Even so, the direction is unmistakably clear. For Samsung, the competitive axis in the AI era has been shifting away from just making chips toward providing the entire environment in which AI runs. By building out memory, logic semiconductors, data centers, and power infrastructure domestically as one integrated chain, Samsung is positioning itself to be far more than parts supplier to the global AI economy. For comparison, TSMC remains manufacturing-focused and has not entered the data center business. Intel, operating under the IDM model, integrating design and manufacturing, has faced significant headwinds in recent years. What Samsung is aiming for is a vertical integration model distinct from both: memory plus logic plus infrastructure, all under one roof. Whether they can execute on that vision remains to be seen, but the ambition itself stands out clearly. Finally, let's consider the timeline. 10 years may sound like a long runway, but when you factor in the construction cycles for semiconductor fabs, it's not a comfortable margin at all. The race to build AI infrastructure is already well underway, centered primarily on the United States and China. For South Korea to establish itself as a recognized AI computing nation, these next 10 years represent the real proving ground. Let me pull together everything we've covered. Reports indicate that Samsung Group is preparing to invest 1,000 trillion won domestically over the next decade, approximately $65 billion per year. The scope spans AI data centers, semiconductor fabs, displays, and batteries, and is expected to be implemented in coordination with the South Korean government's AI and semiconductor strategy. SK Group is also moving forward with AI data center construction in partnership with AWS, confirming that South Korea's two semiconductor heavyweights are simultaneously pivoting toward investment in computing infrastructure. Samsung's aim is to do more than manufacture memory and logic chips. It wants to build the environment in which AI actually runs, inside South Korea, transitioning from a parts supplier to an AI infrastructure provider. This investment is still at the preparation stage and has not been officially announced, but the direction it points in is clearly legible. Let me close with my overall take. Framing this news as simply a massive investment in AI semiconductors is one-dimensional. What I see here is Samsung Group declaring a fundamental transformation of its own business structure for the AI era. This investment initiative represents, in my view, the first major step towards South Korea's evolution, from a nation that supplies AI memory to a nation that hosts and operates the computing infrastructure AI runs on, an AI infrastructure nation, in short. Whether it actually gets there depends entirely on execution in the years ahead, but the direction South Korea is pointing toward becoming the infrastructure supply base for the AI era is something the industry absolutely needs to watch closely.
That's all for today. I'll keep bringing you semiconductor news and analysis. So if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been Ty on Semiconductor News Decoded.